Mr. Carter, my legs can't spread any further. My dance instructor, Cameron Carter, is in the middle of correcting my posture in the dance studio. He grabs me by my inner thighs while pressing on them forcefully. His actions drive my ticklishness to its peak. At the same time, I am so acutely sensitive that I get wet instantly, soon drenching Cameron's hands with my juices. I looked like I was born to dance, with curves in all the right places, a slim waist, and especially long legs that drew eyes wherever I went. Walking down the street, I could easily make any man hard if the breeze just lifted my skirt ever so slightly. Because of that, people called me the kind of campus beauty that only came around once a century. Yet behind my glamorous appearance, there was something no one knew. I couldn't even manage the most basic split. Not because I wasn't flexible enough, but rather because I was acutely sensitive. The moment I spread my legs, a sensation would flood through my body, and I would be slick with need. Every time it happened, that humiliating yet pleasurable heat between my legs made me quiver on the spot. I couldn't help but moan out loud, ruining everything. During exams, the male judges' gaze would linger on me for far too long. Being watched like that only made things worse, to the point that I could barely perform the dance moves correctly. I ended up failing every exam. Finals were coming up soon. If I failed one more time, I would be forced to drop out of the academy. After dinner that evening, my dance instructor, Cameron Carter, called me to the studio and offered to help me practice. I pushed open the door and walked in. The dance studio, which was usually packed with students, was now empty except for Cameron and me. He stood in the center of the room, his eyes roaming over me while a faint smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. "Hi, Mr. Carter," I greeted him shyly at the door. "Elsie, you are here." Cameron walked toward me and closed the door behind us. One of his hands wrapped around my waist, leading me to the center of the studio. It remained there, caressing me gently. Heat crawled across my body, and soon, a tingling sensation bloomed in my core. "Do you know why I asked you to come alone? Because my grades are falling, and I can never get the moves right," I murmured. Thinking about how uncertain my future was, I panicked and grabbed his arm. "Please help me, Mr. Carter. I can't afford to fail again. I'll get kicked out of the academy, and my dad will be furious." Cameron reached out and pinched my chin, tilting my face up. "But you can't even do a split. It is hard for me to do anything at this point." I lowered my head and mumbled, "It is not that I can't. It is just that I didn't know how to say it." Cameron spoke softly in my ear, as if trying to coax me into telling the truth. "What is it?" I am acutely sensitive. As soon as I part my legs, I get wet and feel weak in the knees," I confessed, slowly looking up at him with a bashful look. I had never revealed my secret to anyone before, and now I could finally confide in someone. To my surprise, Cameron looked rather thrilled after he heard my explanation. "You should have told me earlier," he said with a chuckle, his fingers brushing against my cheek. "I happen to know how to deal with it." At those words, my eyes filled with delight. "Really, Mr. Carter, I'll do anything you say as long as you can treat my condition." "Anything?" he probed. "During the process, I'll have to touch your body and test your sensitive spots. You might experience reactions more intense than ever before, and you cannot object to it." By then, I was utterly overwhelmed by excitement at the thought of having my condition treated. I didn't pay much attention to what he said afterward and nodded eagerly. "Very well," smiling. He pointed at the pink yoga mat and instructed, "First, I'll have to test how sensitive you are. Just lie down and relax. Imagine you are at home." I didn't doubt him for a second and did as he asked. Lying on the yoga mat, my body felt completely exposed in front of him. His gaze lingered on me, roaming over my figure in a way that made my skin crawl. It was so intense that I felt like he could see right through my thin clothes. He looked at me as if he were examining something exquisite and savoring it before it was gone. I squirmed under his gaze and turned my head, trying to control the heat rushing through me. Before I could regain my composure, his large hand reached over and grabbed